Good morning.
Hi, how are you? You said the man who knows everything. Is Glenn Kirshner coming on again?
That's right. That's right.
Between the two of you, we have every bit of knowledge in the world. I will do a Guess the Quote with you. Chris, guess who just said this week? I just finished a 120,000-word book on how the Republican Party is becoming an armed insurgency in the United States, and it's absolutely terrifying. Who said that?
Scrooge McDuck.
No, this guy right here.
Oh, okay.
On Joy Reid. Yeah, I mean, I people keep saying, like, I'm over the top. I keep saying it. They are blowing up the debt ceiling is economic terrorism. They are supporting actual terrorism from the insurrection and on, right? I mean, they have become a party of terrorists, just the way you're saying it, Malcolm.
I find it fascinating that the Republican Party, which banks everything on the stock market and on how the economy is doing, would ignore Janet Yellen actually saying that this would explode the U.S. economy and would lose all of the gains that they had.
They want that because they can blame it on Biden. That's where we are, right?
Yeah, but that actually comes out to the money of their constituents. And their constituents are rich white guys on Wall Street.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that, certainly President Biden and others are thinking that the pressure from their actual funders is going to stop this thing. But I also find it fascinating that suddenly there's viable talk about using the filibuster, but not for the Voting Rights Act, which is far, far more important than the debt increase. So, but Mitch McConnell knows what he's doing here. And if he has to burn the country to the ground to get his people back into power, then he's going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, let me just read it on my list here. Malcolm Nance is the MSNBC counterterrorism expert and author of Plot to Betray America. So I'm just saying he knows a little something about terrorism. You also, here's the thing. You were quoting, for instance, this is just the latest. Madison, who is a sitting United States congressman, calls for holy war. It's time for us to stand up and declare boldly that as men and women of faith, we have a duty to stand against tyranny. It's time for the American Christian church to come out of the shadows against people who hate the things we believe in. And you said another warning. How many times do I have to warn you? They are literally calling for Christian jihad.
And he used the words. I just used the Arabic word for holy war. And they're calling for jihad. And for Madison Cawthorn, who of course is one of those people who won't participate in this, it just goes to show you that to be an elected U.S. congressperson in the Republican Party, you already see that you have Boebert didn't even have a high school GED when she got elected to Congress and was a convicted criminal. She had actually gotten arrested several times. Same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, a QAnon nutter. Apparently, you don't have to have any smarts whatsoever to be elected to Congress in the Republican Party. But this is dangerous. What you are looking at is literally stochastic terrorism, where people are, carrying out or becoming the spiritual leaders of this of this political and paramilitary insurgency that I keep warning you about. This is only getting worse. I thought last year that my book on the coming Trump insurgency would be 1 or 2 years out. I had to remove the word coming from the title of the book. It is not a coming insurgency. It's here. Yeah,
you are too Nanstradamus for your books. I remember where's my book? I had to clean the studio up. But your first book about, the plot to destroy America, and I can't remember the subtitle, how, Russia tried or Putin tried, and we're like, tried? Did it? Right.
I know, right? And that book is still selling, Plot to Hack America. The problem that we have right now, and that's why I've changed this book title from the Plot series to They Want to Kill Americans.
Yeah.
That is what the book is entitled, and that's what they believe. They think that there is going to be a political and paramilitary push, which will involve terrorism.
Look at this latest guy yesterday, Trumper, right? The Supreme Court guy, same as the other guy in the pickup truck that lasted for hours. That wanted to talk to Biden, didn't think he was legitimate president. This guy yesterday, talk to us about that. He was outside the Supreme Court, a Trumper, right?
What you're seeing is that the Donald Trump's permission to the world to go out and misbehave and be as indecent and cruel and as mean-spirited as they want to be has released the intermental illness of many people. Like the guy going to the Supreme Court. Many of these people who go up there, the person 3 weeks ago who drove up to the Supreme Court with the fake bomb in the truck, who wanted to die, they really think of themselves as martyrs, as holy warriors. And the worst part is I've written several books on ISIS and Al-Qaeda mindset and their ideology. And I'm having a very hard time distinguishing these people from it, other than that they wear Bubba hats and they have access to greater quantities of small arms in the United States.
Yeah.
This is not going to bode well if we can't stop this descent of the Republican Party into madness.
And it's all the same. The man refused to talk, made a statement to the effect of the time for talking is done. He, of course, had a domestic violence case in his past, as they all seem to at this point. A glance at his Facebook page reveals several posts indicating he's a supporter of Trump, a critic of Democrats, including Obama and Clinton. I mean, here we go, on and on, right? The Facebook hearings, it goes to that. This was all over your first book as well. You just said Facebook is a loaded gun pointed at the heart of democracy. Enough likes and they'll pull the trigger. It's all one story, isn't it?
It is. And, to tell you the truth, despite the fact that years ago, when you and I were growing up, crazy people who couldn't enter into the political fray, back when your dad was running for president, vice president, they would had to have stood on a street corner and handed you out mimeographs of their craziness. Yeah. Now, with the advent of Facebook in particular, they not only can reach hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, they can gain popularity by other people who have mental defects or who believe in this extremist ideology. Facebook is a fundamental danger to American democracy. Yes, everyone has a right to free speech, but what you don't have a right to is using algorithms to spread propaganda that aims a knife or a gun directly into the heart of American democracy. They need to be regulated like a utility. And they also need to be held accountable for the speech that they allow, or that the algorithms allow to foster, which causes things like an attack on the United States Capitol.
Senator Markey, I believe, echoed that. Let's listen for a second.
Here's my message for Mark Zuckerberg. Your time of invading our privacy, promoting toxic content, and preying on children and teens is over. Congress will be taking action. You can work with us or not work with us, but we will not allow your company to harm our children and our families and our democracy any longer.
I would argue they interfered in two elections, 2016 and 2020, as much as Russia did.
Look, many elections, because it's not just elections
and
in the
to
United
Trump's
States.
benefit in both cases, right?
Yeah, it wasn't just elections in the United States. These things have been going around for a very long time. And then when you have companies like Cambridge Analytica that understands how they propagandize, how they monetize and weaponize political grief and hatred, and know that this could foster an environment in which people are killed, then it comes time to where you're going to have to make it very simple that they can be held liable for what happens on their platform. And this is where Zuckerberg and the rest have gotten away with this. They make it seem like, oh, it's just a wild and woolly internet. Well, you can hold people responsible for the content that goes on there if it's, child pornography or if it's abusive or something along that lines. Well, we're just going to have to make hate speech accountable to the platform. Yeah. And then suddenly you will see an army of lawyers. Well, they'll probably descend on K Street and try to lobby Capitol. But we need to see that army of lawyers do what Fox News did recently, which was tell people you cannot lie about Dominion voting systems, right? And make everyone apologize. We need to get Facebook to that point. Mark Zuckerberg is a libertarian, by the way. he doesn't care about democracy.
Yeah.
He only cares about money.
And let me make to your point about mimeograph in my dad's day. Let me just say that had the advantage of smelling really good. Oh, I love fresh
You're
mimeograph.
huffing mimeograph.
I love the smell of fresh mimeograph in the morning.
Smells like
Okay,
victory.
let's talk. It smelled like victory, and then you got purple on your nose.
Yeah.
Okay.